Welcome to the Third Inning podcast. I'm your host, Izzy Rain, and our main subject this week is going to be about spring training baseball in both leagues, the Cactus and the Grapefruit. But we are going to start with the scores like we always do. I'm filming this on a Saturday, so it's only going to be the scores from today. And I do think some games are still going on the West Coast right now, so my apologies that we won't have the final report of that in this podcast. But to start out today, we had the Mets beating the Red Sox 10-2, the Twins beating the Pirates 10-1. Oh, this is a wild score. The Orioles beating the Rays 17-15. Wow. Then we have the Blue Jays beating the Phillies 8-7. We're going to talk about that game later. We had the Braves beating the Tigers 6-4. The Astros beating the Cardinals 9-3. The Indians beating the Rockies 7-1. The Cubs beating the Angels 11-4. The Brewers beating the Athletics 11-2. The Cubs winning over the Giants 8-0. The White Sox beating the Rangers 12-2. The Dodgers beat the Mariners 2-0. The Brewers beat the Angels. They must have played two games, but the Brewers beat the Angels 5-1. And then our game, and some games aren't till later tonight in like an hour, but we have the currently in the bottom of the seventh, the Diamondbacks are leading against the Royals 10-5, and then we had the Yankees playing the Orioles, and it's in the bottom of the second 1-0, and then we have three more games tonight, and it'll be the Marlins and Nationals, the Marlins with their new logo, and that is today at 6:35 p.m., which it must have just started because it's 6:36 right now. Then we have the Diamondbacks will be playing the Rockies at 7:10 p.m. and the Reds playing the Padres at 8:40 p.m. And I think these are East Coast times. But those are all of our scores in spring training this week, or today actually, this weekend. And now we are going to, I'm seeing what we're talking about next. We are going to be talking about, again, spring training, but not scores. We're going to be talking about locations of what teams are on the West, or well, on the East Coast, and what teams are on the West Coast. Now, this is something that I talk about all the time because I just don't get it. So, as you heard basically which teams are in the West and which are in the East. Like, I don't get, why are the Minnesota Twins in Florida when the Cincinnati Reds are in Arizona? Like, Cincinnati is literally, I think, I'm pretty sure. I know, I was told not to say I think because baseball fans are, like, really picky about stuff, which is stupid, but I'm not getting into that. But so the Twins are in Florida while the Reds are in Arizona, but the Reds are in the Eastern time zone in the regular season and the Twins are in the Central time zone. So I'm like, why are the Reds, the Cubs, the White Sox, the Indians, they're all like in the Arizona, when we have like the Twins, who are I'm trying to think of who else, the Cardinals, Astros, yeah, the Astros are in Florida, and then the Rangers are in Arizona, and I'm like, who came up with what team would be where? If any of y'all know, tell me down below in the comments, because I really just do not understand why certain teams are where they are. I don't know when they decided to put these teams in these categories, because obviously some teams, they do change locations, like they move cities. We talked about that some last week, but the one we talked about won't really affect anything. So yeah, I just don't understand why certain teams are where they are. So moving on to our next topic, which is, we had two kind of controversial things happen this week, and that deal with under the influence stuff. So we're gonna start with the first one. Cameron Maybin, he is currently playing in the Giants organization. He goes around a lot, like he goes to a lot of different teams. He was arrested with a DUI this week. There's not a lot of details on that. I haven't been able to find that much on it, but in Arizona. And yeah, so he got arrested for a DUI. I don't know if there's been a suspension or anything on him yet. I don't know if players like get suspended for that, but I mean, I would assume they do, because in basketball, people get suspended for such dumb things. So basketball is just some of that stuff is just crazy to me. And then in football, they honestly, like, don't care. You know? And baseball, it doesn't really happen as much in baseball, so I don't know what all the rules are on that. I'll have to look into it. But our next one, I do have details on, and this is a Red Sox player. So I'm getting this from Instagram. It says, less than a year after being suspended 15 games for a domestic violence incident involving his wife, Stephen Wright has been suspended 80 games for testing positive for growth hormone releasing peptide to, I don't know about drugs, but a PED. So he was doing steroids and got suspended 80 games when he did get suspended last year for domestic violence. That guy really needs to chill. I didn't even know who he was until I saw this article. Again, I'm not as familiar with the American League as I am the National League, just because I live closer to National League teams, and my own team that I pull for is in the National League, so I'm just more familiar with things that happen in the National League, players, teams, that kind of stuff. I mean, I know all the teams in baseball, so I'm familiar with both leagues, but I'm not familiar with who's on what team at what time and who's playing who in the American League. But hopefully with this podcast, I do learn more and more about the American League. That is a goal of mine. I hope to do that. So, yes, so people getting suspended, people getting arrested, crazy stuff happening at spring training. And we are going to go, now I'll talk about a pop culture thing. So The Sandlot is coming back. Now, if you're not familiar, The Sandlot already has like 2 sequels that I've never watched. I may have watched as a kid, but just in my adult years, I've never watched. I've only seen like the original Sandlot in my adult years. So I may have to go back and rewatch or watch for the first time the sequels. So I don't know if those sequels have anything to do with I think it's not supposed to say that. It's a TV show that is coming out about the Sandlot set in the 80s. So it's going to be the same characters, and it's going to be the same actors playing them, just as adults and set in the 80s. And if anything is in the 70s or 80s, really any time period before that, I love. So I am so excited. I hope Benny's on it, because Benny is a Dodger and he was my favorite. So I hope he's there, but again, he's been arrested for some stuff and has been in jail, so I don't know if he's going to be there or not. I really, really hope he will be, because obviously the Sandlot, I think he's pretty much the main character. Him or, I know it's so bad. What is the one kid's name? It's Squint? Ham. I had the Funko Pops. Benny, or no, not Benny, Smalls. Yeah, Smalls, okay, I was getting them confused. Yeah, Smalls and Benny are who I would consider the main characters. Yeah, that's just who I would consider, but if you don't agree, tell me down below in the comments. Obviously, Squints is. No, actually, I went to the Sandlot night at the Columbia Fireflies game last season, and I went as Benny, and I got a baseball from the South Atlantic League that was a foul ball, so pretty cool. It was a really rainy day, so there weren't a lot of people to fight, and obviously at minor league games, you're not going to have as many people ball hawking as you are at major league games, so you have a really good chance of getting a ball. You can meet players. I've met players at basically all the minor league games, and I didn't meet any at that one because, again, it was really rainy, and I don't think there was a rain delay, and those teams, I didn't really know anybody. It was Augusta, and I don't know any players on that team, so I wasn't trying to meet anybody, but I have met players at minor league games, and like, I've only met one rude professional athlete, and it wasn't a baseball player, and I don't really want to talk about it yet because I want to do a video about it, but at the same time, I'm kind of scared to. So, yeah, I haven't decided if I'm doing that yet. That's all your little sneak peek. All my friends know about it, but I'm like, I don't know if I should do it or not. So I haven't done it yet, but it may come. So we talked about the Sandlot and Bryce Harper today. I told you we were going to be talking about the Phillies Blue Jays game, and the Nats apparently have another game. It could be where they do the 2 different squads. I don't know if there's playing 2 games in a day. Who knows? But Yeah, I'm gonna say it's 2 games in a day because they're like across the state from each other. But if you do not know, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air theme song, I know all the words. In West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playgrounds where I spent most of my days. Shona or Lexa, not cool. Shooting some b-ball outside of school. I'm not gonna do the whole thing. But yeah, he like walked up to that today and I'm like, Bryce, thank you. Because it annoys everybody when I do the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air theme song. So I was just like, thank you, Bryce Harper, doing my song and everything. That is really awesome. So Philly fans, I hope you're enjoying having Bryce Harper on your team. He's an awesome player and one of the best in the league, if not the best. So that is going to be it for the podcast this week. I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you have any questions, baseball related questions, leave them down below in the comments and I will answer them in next week's podcast. I will come out on Saturday or Sunday. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next week. And that was the 3rd Inning podcast with Izzy Rain.